the news on the hour by 1 p.m. every day on Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin. Shining Supreme.
From the news desk of Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin, this is news in the hour.
News on the hours today, federal government set up two committees to address resident doctors' workload certifications dispute. Rivers Assembly insists on impeachment move against Governor Fubara. Lagos APC defend federal government's use of U.S. lobbying firms, slams opposition. Saraki Media Office eats bags at the Kwara governor over roads claim. Moving on to the foreign scene, Ugandan Paul Museveni takes a heli lead as Bobi Wine placed under house arrest. And the water spot, Osimhen slams officiating after Super Eagles penalty shootout lost to Morocco. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us for the news on the hour as we welcome you on today's news. I am Precious. Afolabi will bring you details of the news after this break, please. We'll be right back.
We often think that mental health breakdowns sound like this.
I'm emotionally stressed. I'm emotionally downcast. I am so confused of all about life.
But in reality, they can sound like this. Don't make assumptions that people are okay just because they laugh and they smile. Everyone is going through something. Check on your friends and be kind to everyone else.
This message is reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin.
You're welcome back from that show break. Please do note that you can listen to us via our website www.diamondfm.net or keep update with us on Diamond 887 FM. Now the news in detail. The federal government has inaugurated two ministerial committees to tackle lingering disputes in the health sector, including resident doctors' workload, locum engagement, and residency training certification. The committees were set up in Abuja by the Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiaq Adekunle Salako, as part of the reforms aimed at improving workers' welfare and patient safety. Dr. Salako said excessive work hours, inconsistent locum practices, and certification issues has remained a major flashpoint between the government and the health union. The first committee will audit work hours and develop a national framework on safety schedule and locum engagement, while the second will review complaints over residency certification and recategorizations by the regulatory bodies. The Lagos State chapter of All Progressive Congress, APC, has condemned what it describes as orchestrated outrage and selective indignation by the oppositions over Nigerians' engagement of the United States lobbying firm. The party spokesperson, Sheye Oladejo, said the criticism reflected either ignorance of modern governance or a deliberate attempt to mislead the public. In a statement on Friday, Oladejo said lobbying is a lawful and widely used tool of stretch workcraft, noting that governments across the world engaged public affairs firms to promote national interest, attract investment, and strengthen diplomatic ties. It added that Nigerian actions were standard global practice and signaled an end to what it describes as the opposition's demarketing of the countries internationally. Members of the Rivers State House of Assembly on Friday said they will proceed with the impeachment of Governor Siminalayi Fubara. The lawmaker made the declarations during an ongoing press conference in Port Harcourt. The Assembly maintains that its decision was in line with the constitutional provision despite growing tensions surrounding the process. Details of the alleged offences against the governor were not immediately disclosed at the briefing.
You will recall that on the 12th day of January 2026, myself and my colleague, Honorable Peter Abel, addressed the press, wherein we made a plea with our colleagues to seek for a political solution to this impasse that is going on between the Assembly and the Governor of Rivers State. During the pendency of this appeal, we found out that the Governor and the Deputy Governor, they have all employed their media boys and aides to continuously attack the Rivers State House of Assembly instead of seeking for the political solution which we offer. It's on this basis that I, Honorable Simon Oswanko, and my fellow colleague, Honorable Peter, they say that the impeachment proceedings.
Governor Buvar and the lawmaker has been locked in a prolonged political phase fork in recent months, a crisis that has heightened uncertainty over governance in the oil-rich state. Meanwhile, the Four Rivers State lawmaker who earlier appealed for a halt to impeachment proceeding against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy Professor Ngozi Odu have reversed their positions as the urging the Assembly to proceed with the process. The lawmaker made the announcement as the press conference in Port Harcourt on Friday, speaking on behalf of the group. Minority Leader Sylvanus Nwako said that the earlier plea for the political solutions was withdrawn after the governor and his deputy alleged continued attack on the Assembly through media hate instead of embracing dialogue. Barile Nkokun added that the lawmaker were convinced as the executive arms was not ready to govern in line with constitutional provisions, accusing it of attempting to intimidate the legislature and undermine its oversight functions.
That on Wednesday, the 14th of January 2025, Honorable Emilia Locke Yamadi and I addressed the media and stated that we are willing to adopt a political solution to the matter affecting the governor and his deputy governor, removal from office. Regrettably, the governor and deputy governor have sent signals to us that they are not prepared to retrace their steps and govern in line with the Constitution. They are adamant. We are now convinced that their strategy is to intimidate us into withdrawing the impeachment process for the third time while they continue their infraction on the Constitution and the law. They are insisting that others will come and we will not perform oversight functions like other states' legislation in the federation. This is very bad for our democracy. On this note, I am proceeding with the impeachment process, and while we thank Mr. President for his fatherly effort so far that the governor and the deputy governor have both disregarded.
Away from that, the Supreme Court has ordered the continuations of the trial of the former Jigawa State Governor, Sule Lamido, and his son, Mustafa and Aminu Lamido, over 1.35 million naira corruption charges filed by the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC. The Apex Court set aside the July 2023 judgment of the Court of Appeal that had discharged the defendant. In a unanimous decision delivered by Justice Abubakar Sadiq Umar, the five-member panel that held the EFCC appeal was meritoriously restored the ruling of the Federal High Court, which had earlier dismissed the defendant no case submission. The court directed the Lamido and his son returned to the federal court to enter their defense. Chieftains of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Segun Showunmi, has said that the 2026 governorship elections in Osun and Ekiti State will serve as the first real test of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, insisting that political relevance is earned through electoral performance, not public rhetoric. He made the remark during an interview on the national TV and monitored by Diamond FM on Wednesday. Showunmi dismissed claims that the ADC is emerging as a rescue platform for Nigeria, arguing that the party prospect will be determined at the ballot box. He cautions against the premature optimism, noting that political organizations require times to overtake the internal contradictions, while also criticizing what it describes as early signs of entitlement within the party.
The first test they're going to have will be in Osun and then Ekiti, whichever comes first. And then they're going to learn that these things don't yield to the noise that they are making. As far as I know, opposition can come together and say, okay, we want to provide an alternative viewpoint. But you cannot provide an alternative viewpoint if you do not respect the fundamentals that keep the country balanced. One of the fundamentals, in my opinion, that keeps this country balanced is that we must run it on a pendulum. The demography of population in the north is big. The only way we can balance out the country is to say when power goes to the north, northerners give us a candidate, let's look at them. When it comes to the south, otherwise, we're going to be perpetually quarreling with ourselves. And I think that if they don't get that, they don't get anything. That's one. Number two, I've looked at that party very well. I know the players. I feel that they are underestimating Rotimi.
Moving away from that, the media office of the former Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, has dismissed Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak's claim of superior and road constructions in Kwara State as false, misleading, and infertile. In a statement on Friday, the Saraki camp challenged the government to provide a full list of the new roads, questioning whether the administration was merely resurfacing existing roads rather than opening up the new communities. Saraki's office accused the governor and his aide of using road construction's claims to divert attention from worsening security across the state, citing frequently killings, kidnappings, and displacement of residents. The statement constructed that the current insecurity with Saraki's tenure, describing Kwara as relatively safe under his administration despite the national security challenges elsewhere. The Kwara State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, has released guidelines and approved centers for the 2025 promotion examinations for staffs on grade levels 7 to 17. The examination is scheduled to hold on Saturday, January 24th, 2026 by 9 a.m. prompt. And according to the board, online registrations opens at 3 p.m. on Thursday, January 15th, and closes at 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday, January 21, 2026. Applicants are required to upload their letters of forced appointment, letter promotions letter, and a passport photographs with a red background, while officers on grade level 14 and above must present an original degree certificate to qualify for the CBT. SUBEB said candidates must present their KWASRRA card, National Identification Number, NIN, and the official staff ID to access the examination hall. The news is reaching you from Diamond 887 FM in Lorry. We go on a break now. When we return, we'll bring you sport, entertainment news.
On social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Diamond 887 FM. Diamond FM, shining supreme.
orúkọ mi ni yèyélúà tóyìn adégbọlá mo sì ti lé ní 50 ọdún láyé láàyè àtàyè ìdẹ̀ra ìgbòkègbodò mi pọ̀ gan-an nínú iṣẹ́ tí mo yàn láàyò gẹ́gẹ́ bí òṣèré orí ìtàgé kì í sì rẹ̀ mí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kì í sú mi àwọ̀ mi sì ń jí pépépé síbi ìtọ́mọ tuntun lójoojúmọ́ ẹ fẹ́ mọ̀dí abájọ. monomin plus atẹ́jẹ̀ṣe oògùn tó ń fi epo ẹja cod liver oil ṣẹjọ́ ẹ̀ full supplement ni. èròjà ẹ peléke ó ń tara ṣe ó ń mára dán ó ń jẹ́ kọ́mọdé dàgbà dáadáa ó sì ń jẹ́ kí àgbàlagbà máa ta kébékébé monomin plus.
monomin plus fún èròjà tó ń tún inú ara ṣe lẹ́yìn ìwádìí ìmọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ a tún fi èròjà cod liver oil epo ẹja sí i ló fi wá di oògùn méjì tá a papọ̀ sínú ẹyọ kan ṣoṣo la fi ń pè é ní monomin plus iléeṣẹ́ tuyi pharmaceutical industries limited àwọn tó lórúkọ tó ṣe é gbẹ́kẹ̀lé níbi kápò oògùn òyìnbó ló ṣe é monomin plus.
Welcome back from that short break. You're still listening to the news on the hour, reaching you from Diamond 887 FM Ilori, Kwara State, Nigeria. Now we'll move to the foreign scene. Ugandan opposition's leader, Bobby Wine, was under house arrest on Friday, a day after elections in which early results showed President Yoweri Museveni taking a commanding lead as he seeks to extend his 4-decade rule. With about a quarter of votes counted, the Electoral Commission said Museveni had 76.25% against Wine 19.85%. Museveni was ruled since 1986, accused of brutal repressions in the run-up to the vote, while authorities imposed a nationwide internet blackout. Wine's party, the National Unity Platform, said security forces surrounded his residence and placed him and his wife under house arrest. Still on the foreign scene, the Indonesian government has filed a lawsuit against 6 companies seeking 4.8 trillion rupiah, which is a $283.8 million in damages following a deadly flood in Sumatra that killed over 1,000 people. The suit filed in Jakarta and Medan are aimed at complaints accusing of causing environmental damage across more than 2,500 hectares, which fines intended to cover both penalties and recovered costs. Environment Minister Arif Faisal said that the action reflects the populate space, which prints in expressing that the corruptions profiting from the environmental damage must be held accountable. The ministry is also auditing over 100 companies in North Sumatra, West Sumatra, and Essex with the potential criminal charges to follow, while a task force had identified 12 firms suspected of contributing to the flash floods and landslide. And now moving on to the world of sports. Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen has expressed frustrations following Nigeria's 4-2 penalty shootout defeat to host nation Morocco in the African semi-final. Describes the officiating as nothing to write home about. The match ended 0-0 after regulations and extra time, with the Galatasaray forward also lamenting missed opportunities and the disappointment within the team's camp. Speaking after the game, Osimhen singled out Ghanaian referee Daniel Lee Ayi for criticism by the comments, but commended his team for their resilience against a strong Moroccan side backed by a massive home crowd. Despite the setback, Osimhen remains optimistic about the future, acknowledging Morocco as one of the toughest opponents while praising the squad strength.
I think me and my teammate, we are all professional, but it's disappointing, it's hurting, because then we have to wait for more years to try to qualify again for the AFCON and try to prove a point. But to be honest with you, game was nothing to write home about in terms of the officiating. It was that bad. But I think for me, I have to say a very big congratulations to the Moroccans, and also I'm proud of my team for the kind of fight we put up in against a very good quality side, and also playing in front of the thousands of their fans. I think for me, moving forward now, I think there is more greater things lies ahead. But to be honest with you, the whole squad is sad, disappointing, because I believe we could have get this trophy, but we just keep it moving.
Nigerian Football Federation NFF President Ibrahim Gusau has called on the Super Eagles to focus on winning the third place playoff against Egypt after their 4-2 penalty shootout loss to Morocco in AFCON 2025 semi-finals. Gusau emphasized that the team should not dwell on the semi-finals defeat, noting that the penalty shootout are unpredictable and the Super Eagles performs admirably despite challenges. The NFF chief assures that effort will be made to boost the players' morale ahead of the bronze medal clash, urging the squad to secure a positive finish and to build on their strong showing in the championship. With that, we've come to the end of the news on the hour, but before we go, here is a recap of the major highlights. Federal government set up 2 committees to address resident doctors' workload certifications disputes. Rivers Assembly insists on impeachment move against Governor Fubara. Lagos APC defends the federal government use of U.S. lobbying firm slams opposition. Saraki Media Office hit back at Kwara governor over road claims. On the foreign scene, Ugandan Paul Museveni takes a heavy lead as Bovi Wine plays on the house arrest. And as in the world of sport, Osimhen slams officiating after Super Eagles penalty shootout lose to Morocco. And on this day in 1966, late Major General John Aguiyi-Ironsi became Nigerian first military head of state following the January 15 coup that ended the First Republic. And if you don't know, now you know. For news coverage and information about happenings around you, kindly contact Diamond FM Newsroom on this number, 0916 062 7526. Join us at 3 for News Flash and for the comprehensive bulletin at 5. The news on the hour was edited by Adeyemi Adewale and read to you by Precious Afolabi. Many thanks for listening to your shining supreme station. Please don't forget that the Yoruba version of the news will be coming in a bit.